welcome to Christina Wishnowsky Yoga. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to be working into a short sequence to really help clear low back pain. It's such a common issue, and most of it's coming from our tendency to kind of slouch forward and round our back. So in the school of yoga that I've been trained in, what we talk about is that the legs govern the health of the lower back. So we're going to really focus on bringing our thigh bones back and improving our vitality in the lower back. All right, we're going to need a block to place between our legs just to help us, and a strap or a blanket or something like that. So I'm just going to start by demonstrating probably the root cause of most of back issues that I see, right, is the old, what's the word? Slouch forward, right? Like we've got our hips so far forward that everything's out of alignment. The other thing is the slouch forward, double slouch forward, hips forward, shoulders forward. Like, now I'm obviously exaggerating, but we're all kind of working in some way to like move our hips back, get ourselves out of alignment. And the work to really help clear the lower back is to get ourselves so that the ankle, the hip, the shoulder and the ear are all kind of running a plumb line together. So the work is about moving the thigh bones back and creating the right kind of curve in the lower back, and creating strength and support in the front abdominal muscles so that you can hold yourself. When I had lower back issues, it was mainly to do with the weakness in my stomach. All right, let's start. Lying on your back, please. Now again, if your low back is quite sore, you can keep your knees bent, and we're working to create a curve in the low back. We do that by working the thigh bones back. Actually, let's all start here. Knees bent, and just bring your hands to the top of the thighs and just push the thigh bones back, and you'll notice that that creates the curve in the lower back. And into that space, just gently tuck your tailbone under to engage your belly, so you're still keeping space under the low back here. Now you can grab your strap and hug your right knee in towards your chest. If you can, then the invitation is to lengthen your left leg out. And I want you to try and lengthen the left leg out so that it's connected to the mat. Grab your strap, your blanket, your towel, whatever you have, your belt, and put it around the ball of your right foot. Nice. We're just working to take the thigh bone, so I want you to bring your right hand and gently coax the thigh bone into the hamstring. Still engaging the belly by drawing the belly back. Work the thigh bones back into the hamstring. Nice. Release that, bend the knee, swap sides, extend your right leg out, work the thigh bone towards the mat, hug your left knee in towards the chest, take the strap or the belt, whatever you have, around the ball of your left foot, and work the thigh bones back into the hamstrings. You might notice that just this simple act of relieving the pressure in the hamstrings may even help relieve the pressure in the lower back. Release that, bend the knees. We're going to repeat that, so hug your right knee in towards your chest again. Take the strap around the ball of your right foot, inhale, lengthen. And again, we're gently working to move the left thigh bone down towards the floor and the right thigh bone through the hamstrings and to the back of the leg. Your option is always, if you need to bend the left knee, if that brings more support. Perfect. Nice. This time we're just going to add to this and hug the right knee in towards your chest. Keep your right shoulder anchored and cross the right knee over to the left side of the body, just coming into that gentle spinal twist. Inhale, unwind, extend the right leg out as you hug your left knee in towards the chest. Take the strap around the ball of your left foot and inhale, straighten the left leg. And again, maybe just gently use your right hand to coax the right thigh bone towards the mat, and use your left hand to coax the left thigh bone back into the hamstrings. So much of our daily activity in modern life involves us shortening the hamstrings, and that shortness of the hamstrings pulls the kind of hips forward, so and also creates tension in the lower back. Nice. Release that. Hug the left knee in towards the chest. Keep your left shoulder anchored. Cross your left knee over to the right side of your body. Gentle spinal twist. Nice. Inhale, unwind, and we're going to do that one last time. Hug the right knee in towards the chest. Take the strap around the ball of your foot. Inhale, straighten that strap. Straighten the leg. Work the thigh bones back. Keep working to cultivate a curve in the lower back, and just tuck the tailbone under to engage the lower belly. Nice. This time, instead of the twist, we're going to bend the left knee if it's not already. Release the strap, cross your right ankle over your left knee. Now, some of you may find that your hips and your glutes are already feeling like they're getting a good stretch here, so you can leave that. Or if you want to take it a bit deeper, you can lift your left foot up, coming into this Sukhi Randrasana. Number 4, stretch. And still we're working the left thigh bone through the hamstring into the hands, and we're just also working to tuck the right tailbone under to help move the right knee away. So we're just opening into the gluteal and the hip muscles here to help release some of that tension in the lower back. Beautiful. Release that. Keep hugging your left knee in towards your chest as you extend your right leg out long. Take your strap around the ball of your left foot and inhale. Straighten. So this repetition just helps. Every time we come back to this movement, we're helping the body release a little bit more and helping create a bit more freedom. Right, bend the right knee, cross your left ankle over your right knee. Again, if the glutes are quite tight, you might want to stay here. Otherwise, the invitation is to lift the foot up, coming into Sukhi Randrasana, second side. Again, still working the thigh bones back. And a huge focus of today's class is just being able to pull the thigh bones back into the hip sockets and create the curve in the lower back. So a lot of what we're doing to create low back pain and to also weaken the front of the body is that hunching forward that I showed you at the front of class. Nice. Release that. Place both feet on the mat. Now the option is to place your hands underneath your seat bones to give yourself a little bit more support. You can kind of grab hold of your mat otherwise, or some of you may be able to take your hands above the mat. We're going to just lift the knees so that they're over our hips, hug the toes towards each other, and then gently exhale, drop the right foot down, inhale, come up, left foot down and come up. I want us to create a curve in the lower back still. So we're working the thigh bones back, and there's still a curve in my lower back, so I can still get my hand underneath here, but I'm engaging my lower belly as well. So I'm pulling the belly back towards the spine. So we're just helping to support the lower back by creating a little bit of strength and stability in the spine, in the abs as well, right? Like I said, part of the issue is that our core is not strong enough to support us, and so it helps with that collapsing forward. So we're really trying to work on moving the thigh bones back and drawing the shoulders back so that everything's nice and plumb. All right, let's do a few more each side. Now some of you, as you begin to get a bit stronger, you can straighten your legs and take them down straight, okay? So that's the advanced option as you strengthen, because this is a class you should really be repeating. And then place the feet on the mat. Lovely. Roll over to the side. Perfect. Grab hold of your block, and we're just going to stand up to begin with, because I want us to place the block between the thighs, right? Because this hugging in action is holding and creating stability in the legs, and it creates, so the block comes between the thighs, but it's also going to help us imagine this action of taking the thigh bones back, because what we do with the hugging in of the block with our inner thighs is we now just hug the block in and then move the thighs back, right? Holding the block between us, between our thighs. So we're strengthening the inner legs. Now that moving the thighs back has created a curve in my lower back that I'm now going to tuck my tailbone under into, and that tucking of the tailbone lifts my lower belly and creates strength. Draw the ribs back, take the shoulders back, and I've created a nice curve, right? The curve's not too big, the curve is nicely contained, and I'm creating engagement in this front of the body too to support myself. Perfect. Let's release that. You might have noticed that's actually quite a bit of work. You just do that a few times and you'll definitely notice it. We're going to take the block now between our legs and come into table. Hugging the block. Beautiful. And normally we do cat-cow, but what I want us to do is hug the block and move the thigh bones back. So there's this action of what we call turning the inner thigh in slightly, move the thigh bones back, and then it broadens and creates spaciousness in the seat bones, which creates that curve in the lower back, right? So keeping that curve, now tuck the tailbone under so the belly lifts, right? And then hold that. Perfect. Nice. And then release. Whew. Let's do it one more time. Hug the legs around the block. Take the thigh bones back. Create that curve, and you'll notice that as you take the thighs back, we're turning the thigh bones kind of in and around, and it broadens them into the hip socket. So you should feel a broadening across the back. Now tuck the tailbone under to lift the belly, keeping the broadening. You should feel some strength here. Beautiful. Nice. Now tuck your toes under, keeping that, moving the thigh bones back, and keep hugging the block between your thighs. So the thigh bones work back and broaden. That creates the curve in your lower back. Now tuck the tailbone under. Perfect. Now if you can, I want you to bend your knees halfway. Hug the block. Work the thigh bones back and apart into the hamstrings and into the outer edges of your hip sockets. Tuck the tailbone under, feel your belly lift. Nice. Exhale, bend the knees again. Release that. And again, hug the block. Work the thigh bones back and apart. Creating that curve in the lower back. Keep that. Now tuck your tailbone under. Beautiful. Walk your fingers back towards your feet. Keep hugging the block between your thighs. You can place your hands on your shins. Shins hug in, thighs hug the block, and you're moving the thigh bones back into the hamstrings again as you inhale, lift your heart halfway. That creates that curve in the lower back. Now tuck the tailbone under to lift the belly. You'll notice you lengthen through the spine a little bit more. Beautiful. Keeping the curve and keep working the thigh bones back and broadening the thigh bones to the outer edges of your butt. Mount forward. So we're creating that curve in the spine, right? So we're not moving from here, we're moving from the lower back. I'm really feeling this in my hamstrings right now. Perfect. Now the invitation is to bend your knees. We're still hugging that block. I know. Bend your knees. Sit up and inhale. Reach your hands up. Even here, see if you can work the thighs back. Create the curve in your lower back. Tuck the tailbone under and hold. You should feel your abs engaged and there should be some sensation. Anchor through your legs. Inhale, rise all the way up. Whew. Beautiful. Release the block for a bit. Walk that out. Nice. So the practice is we're trying to broaden, we're trying to take your thigh bones back, strengthen the inner thighs, and then broaden out across the back of the body. Tuck the tailbone under and lift your belly. All right, let's take the block between our thighs again. You'll notice I'm quite close to the wall. We're going to use that soon. All right, but first thing, we're going to come back into chair pose. So hug the block in. Nice. As you sit back, I want you to move by taking the thighs back. Beautiful. Sinking the hips, bend the knees, come up. Find your chair. Beautiful. Reset, hug in. Thighs move back and apart again. Tuck your tailbone under to lift your belly. I know. Gorgeous. And then inhale, rise up. I want us to fold forward, keep the belly engaged, find the wall, walk back slightly. Still hugging the block between your thighs. Work the thigh bones back into the hamstring, create the curve in your lower back. Now, tuck the tailbone into that space. Beautiful. And it's this constant little dance of thighs work back into the hamstrings, tailbone tucks under, and I'm creating the curve and the strength that I need. So what we're trying to do is just get our spine back into optimal alignment. Nice. Walk the feet back up. Perfect. Release the block. Come to the middle of your long edge of your mat and take your feet out wide. Make sure your feet are parallel and imagine that you have your block between your legs, and we're going to hug into the midline even here. Place your hands on your hips, and as you fold forward, turn your thighs in. It's like a spiral action. Turn your thighs in, right, to work them to the back of the thighs, and you should notice then that they broaden out, right? Fold forward, thighs back, broaden out. That creates a curve in the lower back. You can place your hands on the mat. Tuck your tailbone under, lengthen through the side of your body. Nice. Come up onto your fingers, heel toe your feet together, and come down onto your knees. Last time, taking the block between your hips, hug the thighs together, work the thighs back, right? In, back and apart. Tuck the tailbone under. Notice how that engages your your belly. Inhale, reach your hands up. Perfect. Nice. Release that, fold forward. Coming into table. And gently, we're just going to take the left foot out behind us and the right hand out in front of us. So just like we've done throughout class, the back thigh we're turning in, back and apart. We're tucking the tailbone under and drawing the belly back. So we're strengthening the front of the body here. Nice. Exhale, come down. Second side, take the right leg out behind us. Inhale, left hand out in front. Turn the thigh back and apart. Draw the belly back. Strengthening the back of the body. Beautiful. Last time, come down, tuck your toes under, come up, downward facing dog, starting with the knees bent like we did at the beginning of class, with the thighs back and apart to come into the full pose. And then come into pigeon pose or Sukhi Randrasana, the pose we started in at the beginning of class. Take your right leg up. Exhale, bring your right knee towards your right hand, right foot towards your left hip. Hold that. And then maybe fold forward. You can use the block if you want to. Now the key thing here though, because we are working to clear the lower back, is that the back thigh, I'm still working the hugging in to the midline and the working of the thigh bone back and apart, all right? And we're releasing the tension on this right outer hip to find freedom, right? When we can release the tension, we find the freedom to, you know, do so many of the things that we've always enjoyed. Nice. Release that. Place your hands. Come back. Downward facing dog. Last time. Inhale. Take the left leg up. Bring the left knee towards the right hand. Left hand, left foot towards the right hand. Drop the right knee down. I always move my knee back, the right knee back. And then again, back and apart with the thighs to create the spaciousness in the lower back. Into that space, we tuck the tailbone so that the curve is not over exaggerated. Again, if this is too much of a challenging posture for you, then the option is to do Sukhi Randrasana. Beautiful. Inhale, come back. Downward facing dog. Bend the knees, come into table. Just walk your feet up towards your hands and bring your feet out in front of you. We're going to come into Dandasana as our last pose. So you'll notice I just took my hands, right hand to the inner edge of my left thigh, my left hand, and I just did the in, back and apart action with my legs to get the thigh bones down on the mat. So you'll notice that I'm sitting up here and I have the curve in my lower back. Now if you're sitting here and you're slouching, then you need to find something to lift you up, okay? So get as much lift as you need to create the curve in your lower back, right? Because what we want to be doing is creating the curve within the lower back. You turn the thigh bones back and apart so that they're working back to create that spaciousness in the lower back. Tuck the tailbone under, and sitting here in Dandasana, hands sit beside you, draw the belly back towards the spine, sit up nice and tall. We're just going to hold this. Now I remember when I first came to yoga, sitting up straight was a real effort. I didn't have the strength of my supporting muscles in the back of my spine or in the front of my belly, around, so the core strength was missing. So these poses are really, really simple, but what they're doing is cultivating this deep internal strength for you to be able to hold yourself, stand tall, and hold yourself in this pain-free way. Nice. And then inhale, turning around. Last pose, just take your legs out wide. Continue sitting on the blanket to ensure you have the curve in your lower back. We're just going to lengthen out the inner edges of the feet, of the thighs here, and gently just walk forward. But the walking forward, we're working the thigh bones back and apart. We're keeping them evenly anchored. We're creating a curve in the lower back. So I'm not folding forward like this, recreating the hunch. I lengthen through the spine, ears in line with the shoulders, shoulders in line with the hips, curve in the lower back. Beautiful. Inhale, come up, bring the feet together, cross your feet, hands together in front of your heart. To our ability to create a pain-free lower back, we bow. Namaste.